What's up, my good people, and welcome back in to the Bully Ball Show on Sparks TV. I'm your host, Nino Sparks Sedan, aka the Mid-Range Bully. Now, as we've all heard, Dame Lillard finally traded. Seems like since the beginning of this show, I've been talking about Dame possibly being traded. Let me move a little closer, excuse me. And now the season is finally upon us, where Dame will no longer be in a Portland Trail Blazers uniform, thank God. No disrespect to Portland fans, but we're tired of seeing the redundancy. We see this year after year after year. I said the same thing with players like Bradley Beal and others. And now we finally get to see what it's going to look like with Dame on a contending team. Because like I said in other videos, and you've heard other people now lamenting, Dame, this is probably the most talented, this is definitely the most talented team he's ever been on, but he probably hasn't been on a team with similar expectations or as good of a supporting cast as this since his rookie year or his first couple of years in the league, when he had a LaMarcus Aldridge and you had a Wes Matthews who was still playing on a high level on both ends of the court. Batum was doing his thing. He didn't seem as old as he is now. It seemed like he went to Charlotte and aged 10 years. But that's neither here nor there. This is definitely the best team that he's possibly ever been on. And I'm excited to see what that's going to look like. But in that same breath, let's not act like the Portland Trail Blazers didn't get cute. And if you're wondering what I mean to that, how is it, if you're the Milwaukee Bucks, you really fucked up on this? Because there's no way in hell you make this trade 10 times out of 10, 100 times out of 100 times, Dame for Jrue Holiday, but I would have had something in that trade mix that stipulates Portland being able to trade Jrue Holiday back to the fucking Eastern Conference. Not only did they send Jrue Holiday, and I'll break down in a minute why that's so important, but not only did they send him back to the Eastern Conference, I just saw, saw the baddie pass by. I had to threw me off for a minute. We out in public, so anything's possible. But not only did you send him back to the Eastern Conference, but you send him to the one team that the Milwaukee Bucks are going to be competing with all year. Now, had he stayed in Portland, we knew he wasn't going to stay in Portland, but had he stayed in Portland or the Western Conference, then you only got to worry about seeing that team twice in the regular season. And then if that team makes it to the finals, then you'd see them in the finals. But that's highly less likely than them sending him back to the Eastern Conference and helping the team that you're competing with get even better. And I'm going to break down why I think Jrue Holiday to the Boston Celtics, which I didn't see coming, is a way bigger deal than even Dame going to Milwaukee. Why? Why is that important? Because if you can look back, we all heard Dame having high praise for Jrue Holiday. Excuse me for the noise. He had high praise for Jrue Holiday, called him the best defender. You know, in terms of perimeter defenders, he was the best. He said he's the best defender he's seen. And it's a reason why he said that, because Dame is known for sending people packing in the playoffs. If you can recall, Jrue Holiday sent Dame packing in the playoffs when he was with the Pelicans. If you remember that season where Anthony Davis was playing out of his mind, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, Marcus Cousins was on that squad too. And you had Rajon Rondo, who was a resurgence and went playoff Rondo on that ass. And him and Jrue Holiday basically punked Dame and CJ McCollum. No disrespect, basketball-wise, they got punked. And that just is what it is. They sent them packing, and that's one of the reasons why Dame lamented to Jrue Holiday being one of the best defenders. And now he's going to have to see that dude 4 times in the regular season and possibly somewhere in the postseason. I don't know if they're going to meet up in the Eastern Conference Finals or if they'll meet up in the second round, but they're going to meet up. Oh yeah, make no mistake about it. And Jrue Holiday being on the Celtics makes them that much more of a fucking problem. I'm sorry, because I'm still not that sold on the Porzingis thing, but now that they got Jrue Holiday, I'm a little more comfortable with it, because my whole thing was, you get rid of your best on-ball defender in Marcus Smart, and you're expecting who's gonna take over that role. Derek White, as good as he is, or as good as he has been, he's not Marcus Smart when it comes to defending. Brogdon, as good as he can be, he wasn't going to be Marcus Smart. Pritchard was not going to be Marcus Smart. So who is going to be the guy that guards the best player on the other team? Which usually is the point guard. At the point guard position, who's going to guard that position? It would be asking too much for Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown to guard the best defender on one end and then give you buckets on the other end. There's only a few guys in the league that can do that type of shit. Jimmy Butler being one of them, and Jrue Holiday being the other. So I think Jrue Holiday going to the Celtics is a much bigger fucking deal than Dame going to the Bucks. As much as I like the pairing with Dame and Giannis, I think that pick and roll, like I said, is going to be phenomenal. It's going to be out of here. You know, that pick and roll is going to be dead. Would it be a pick and pop on Dame's? If Giannis is bringing it up the court, it'll be a pick and pop with Dame. If Dame's bringing it up the court, it could be a pick and pop or pick and roll with Giannis. Hell, you might even see Giannis doing some picking and popping with that slow-ass three-shot that he shoots. But, hey, if it goes in, it goes in. And I think they are going to be a force in the East. I think, hey, I had them as the 1 seed in the East regardless when they didn't have Dame. Just with the team that they had. You know, even with Chris Middleton coming off an injury, I just feel like for whatever reason, the Bucks, they get off to a good start every season, and they somewhere throughout the season they separate themselves. But the problem is during the postseason, one, they don't have enough offensively. That they just check that box, and then two, they don't have a guy to guard the other team's best player. That guy should be Giannis, but for whatever reason, he does not rise to that occasion. You remember that I think it was the season. It might have been the season where Jimmy Butler was with the Sixers, or it might have been when Kawhi took them out. I don't know, but I recall Giannis making a comment saying that, if he's asked to guard the other team's best player, he'll do it, but that's not what he wants to do, clearly, because if it was what he wants to do, he would just take that initiative without having to be asked. You know, and I'm not saying he's not capable. He's definitely capable of doing it. We've seen he's been Defensive Player of the Year. But on a nightly basis, again, asking him to be dominant on the offensive end and guarding the team's best player on the defensive end, that's a tough ask. So with that being said, if Pat Connaughton is going to be the guy at the 2 spot or the 3 spot, it looks like he's going to be the defender on the team, probably guarding the point guard position most of the time. This is going to be a problem somewhere. It might not be a problem during the regular season. Maybe they'll figure that part out. Maybe they'll go grab somebody. If I'm not mistaken, I think I did see Jay Crowder on the team. If Jay Crowder's on the team, then that adds to your depth defensive-wise. Having a guy that can guard that 3 position. He can't really guard point guards, but he can guard, I would say, 2 to 4. He can guard a 2, he can guard a 3, and he can guard the stretch 4. He can't guard Anthony Davis, but he can guard stretch 4s. But as far as if we're looking at just a matchup between Boston and Milwaukee, I got to give Boston the edge. I'm sorry. Because if you look at how they're going to play, which they'll probably play big just to match with a Brook Lopez and a Giannis, and they got to deal with Embiid with the Sixers. Let's not act like the Sixers fell all the way off. I'm seeing a scenario where they possibly end up patching things up with James Harden, at least for the time being, because it doesn't look like a trade is anywhere imminent unless he's going to the Lakers. Like, I did a video a while back. Y'all can go check that out. I see him staying with the Sixers, and to be honest, his best bet is to stay with the Sixers. The Clippers, I don't see that be worse than the team you played on in Houston when you had Russ. Which that wasn't even a bad team. They made the playoffs. They just couldn't get past the Lakers. Had the Lakers not been there, hell, who knows how far they would have went. But if James is talking about being the guy, I don't want to get too sidetracked, but if he's talking about being the guy, I don't see that happening on the Clippers, and it damn sure ain't going to happen on the Lakers. So you might as well be the guy with the Sixers and play number 2 to Joel Embiid. So I could see the Celtics playing big with Porzingis at the 5, Al Horford at the 4, Jaylen Brown at the 3, Tatum at the 2, and then Jrue Holiday at the 1. Now, if they play that lineup, that versus Milwaukee, you got Porzingis on Brook Lopez. I like that matchup, even though I think Brook might get him. You got Horford on, it will be Horford on Giannis. Giannis will probably I'll give Giannis the edge in that matchup. And then this is where it gets tricky. Because now you got Jaylen Brown on Chris Middleton. I'm going to give Jaylen Brown the edge on that. Then you got Pat Connaughton on Jason Tatum. Stop it. No disrespect to Pat Connaughton, but stop it. And then you would have Dame on Jrue. And I just unpacked how that is possibly going to go. Not to say that Dame can't get the better of him in one of these 4 games during the regular season. That's not to say that he can't turn it up on him during the playoffs. Because on the flip side, if you're the Bucks, and the reason you probably got rid of Jrue Holiday was because, let's keep it real, he kind of got a little bit exposed in the last postseason. Jimmy Butler did whatever he wanted to Jrue, to Giannis, to anybody that was on that team. You know, so that might have been maybe a little chink in the armor. Maybe they seen something and they said, hey, you know what? Maybe instead of our point guard being the defensive guy, maybe we need to go out and get that guy to be, you know, as far as our point, to be our point guard. You know, but on the flip side of that, if you the Celtics, you gotta like your chances in that matchup. Even if you, let's say you don't go Horford, let's say you want to go with a 3-guard, or you want to go with a 4-guard line, you want to go with a big, and then, you know, you can play you can play Jaylen Brown as a stretch 4. You can put Tatum at the 3. You can play Derrick White at the 2 and Jrue Holiday at the 1. That gives you some size and some more versatility. That keeps your size and also gives you versatility around the perimeter. But yeah, that's my take on that. You know, as far as the Damian Lillard saga, I think the Jrue Holiday trade is being undersold, and I think you're going to see a lot of analysts chiming in during the season talking about how maybe the Boston Celtics might have won that. Now, on the flip side, if you're Portland, I like what you got. I told you only had one chance to get it right, and I think you got it right. You know, because what did I say in the last video? I said you wanted to add depth. You wanted to add veterans in with these young guys, but young veterans. Not veterans that are going to be, you know, if you kind of look at like, I don't know if anybody saw the Derrick Rose press conference interview, but, you know, he seemed already a little annoyed and disgruntled, you know, with the questions, you know, saying like, I'm not here to babysit y'all and stuff like that. That's not the kind of veterans you want on this young team if you're Portland. You want young veterans. You want guys that have been in the league for a couple of years, know how to play the right way, and they're not on some, you know, hey, it's time for me to chase rings, or it's time for me to get the bag. You know, they're not on the back ends of their career. You know, DeAndre Ayton, that's a guy that fits the timeline. That's a young vet. Let's see if he can revitalize himself in, you know, in this new situation. I say you keep Malcolm Brogdon. That's another young veteran, a guy who's been in the league for a little while now, a guy that knows how to play the right way, and who can actually help your team, and who can help, you know, Scoot Henderson in that regard. So I like what they got, you know. I still think they're going to be a competitive team. I think they're going to be more competitive than people think. Everybody's thinking that they're going to be in the lottery and at the, you know, the bottom of the West. I don't see that. I'll tell you one thing: they're going to be better than the Spurs. That's for damn sure. They're going to be better than the Spurs. I can bank on that. Scoot's going to be better than Wemby. I'm sorry. I know we only seen Scoot play for he played less plays than Aaron Rodgers, and I'm telling you, I've seen enough. So yeah, that's all I got for y'all for free. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments section. Do you think the Celtics want to trade? Do you feel like the Bucks want to trade? Or do you feel like do you feel like the Blazers want to trade? Y'all let me know what y'all think. Do you think which team do you think is going to be propelled to the 1 seed? Do you like the Bucks in that? Do you think the Sixers still got some life left? What about the Heat? The Heat took out all these teams. Are they still going to be a force to reckon with? Y'all let me know. That's all I got for y'all. I'll tap back in later. Make sure you tap that like, tap that subscribe, stay tapped in.